What's going on, everyone? Mitesh here with MTech, and today I have for you my full review of Android 9.0 Android Pie update that I just got for my Pixel 2, at least the final version I just got for my Pixel 2. I've had it for about 3 months, so I know everything there is to know about it at this point. And yeah, today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on the things that I like, things that I hate, and things that I'm not really sure why they're there. Gestures. But yeah, so you know what? Let's get into it. Alright, so I'm going to start off with the things that I don't like about the update because there aren't a ton of things there. So number one thing, though, is the fact that they got rid of the little drop-downs in the quick toggle menu. So they had drop-downs for the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, so you could quickly switch between Wi-Fi signals and Bluetooth signals without ever having to go into the settings menu. But they've gotten rid of that. Now you have to long press it, and it will take you to the settings, and you have to change it. I understand why they did it. They did it to make all the toggles consistent, but you know what? It was a feature that I actually used, so I'm a little upset that it's gone. It made things way easier than it is now, where you have to go into settings. It's like a couple more taps, and I just hate when they add more taps for me to do. I'd rather things get easier, more simplified over time, but this is something that I guess most people didn't use, so they changed it. So yeah, that's number one of things that I don't like. Number two of things that I don't like is the fact that they got rid of customizability. So in Android Oreo, I don't know if they did this on purpose or not, but they added a little loophole where you could finally add themes to stock Android without rooting. So you could use Substratum and other things, and you had to, it was a real workaround, and I was planning on making a video about this, but I found out with Android Pie, they are taking that away. So you can't go around theming stock Android anymore. It sucks. And it really sucks because they have not given the one thing that people really want, which is dark mode for Android devices. For stock Android devices, we just can't have a dark mode for some reason. They just haven't. It's been one of the most requested features, and they just have not implemented it. I'm really hoping that they do it with the next version, but at this point, Google, you gotta keep up. Otherwise, you know what? The OnePlus device with that dark mode is looking pretty, tempting because it already has Android 9.0 beta. So, I stay with the Pixels because I love getting stock Android and updates right away from Google, but if I just have to wait a month or two for updates and I can just get the cheaper device with the OnePlus, I might just do that. So, yeah, anyways, things I don't like that's definitely one of the things that I don't like. Some other things I don't like is the fact that multitasking is a little bit harder now. So it's still available. You can still multitask on your phone, but it takes a few more taps because of gestures. And gestures is something that I just don't understand why we have it. I get that it's the future, that I get that they're going to move towards gestures anyways, and that's actually a more fluid experience for the user in the end after they've learned it. But right now, the gestures that we have are not good enough. The buttons are terrible. And the fact is, the gesture navigation bar is still huge. I don't understand why it needs to be the same size as the regular navigation bar was in Android 8.0. It's just a giant bar, and it just takes up space. One of the things that I really wish they could do is just get rid of the entire thing and then just let us swipe up from the screen. I know OnePlus has also done that, so yeah, something where it gives us back some of that screen real estate, that would be great. Then I would be all on board for gestures. But right now, we are getting very little benefit for just a little bit of headaches. For example, like I said, the multitasking is it just takes a couple more taps, and I'm just not a big fan of it. I don't use it anymore, actually, because they've just made it harder to do. Before, you could just long press on the overview button, and it worked fine. But now, you gotta tap to the top, click multitasking, find another app, click on that. They've just made it harder to multitask, and I'm not a fan of that. Alright, so after all that negativity, let's talk about some of those things that I actually like about Android Pie that make it really good. First of all is the fact that they made media volume the default volume. I think I've mentioned this in other videos, but seriously, the fact that media volume is the default volume is just fantastic. So now when you do volume up or down, by default, it's changing the media volume. So it changes when you play music and stuff like that. That's the volume it changes versus your ring volume because once again, not that many people call you, you don't change that volume that much. What you need to change, however, is your media volume. So before you hit that YouTube link, you can go ahead and hit that volume down and you're not disturbing everybody around you. Seriously, it's a great feature that I'm happy is there. Number two is adaptive battery and adaptive brightness. So adaptive battery is basically Google's version of things that OEMs have been doing already. Like Huawei, they've been killing off apps in the background to preserve battery life. But it's going to be a little bit less aggressive than that. So I personally have not noticed it killing off anything that I've been using like recently. So the way it works is it learns what you do with your phone and it keeps that stuff in memory, and the stuff that you don't use, it just go ahead and suspends it. So yeah, it's just a way to save battery life, and as far as I can tell, it's working. I mean, I haven't noticed like market improvement in battery life, but I have noticed that I've had like more steady battery life. It's more consistent overall. So I think it's working. And maybe it's just a placebo effect. Don't really know. Now, adaptive brightness, on the other hand, is one of those things that I've definitely noticed that it's improved. And I've noticed it because I don't notice it anymore. So brightness is one of those things that I actually had to use to toggle all the time. But nowadays, I don't touch it at all. And it just works fine. I don't ever have to worry about brightness being... my screen being at the wrong brightness for things unless I'm taking video of my phone. That's the only time I ever touch the brightness slider. But otherwise... yeah, it just does its thing, and it's actually way better than it was before. I know it's one of those things that's like super subtle that you won't notice, but it is there and it's nice. Another nice new feature that's been added is a screenshot editor. So when you take a screenshot, you can go ahead and use the editor that's built in now called Markup, and it will let you edit things. You can point out things to people, and yeah, it's a nice little thing. I'm surprised it took this long to get it, but we finally have it, a built-in screenshot editor in Android. And finally, the last feature I want to talk about is digital well-being. This is a feature that I was really excited for. I made a whole separate video about it, which you can see. It's linked up here. And yeah, I think it's a great feature that will hopefully help people use their phones a little bit less, or at least use their phones more productively. It's definitely helped with me. So I used to spend like an hour plus on Reddit every day, and now it's gone down to like 20 minutes a day at most. So at work, I just don't spend time on Reddit anymore. Instead, I do stuff that's actually helpful to me. So yeah, that's in some ways digital well-being is super useful. And yeah, for me, that's pretty much all the important features in Android Pie that I really care about. But yeah, it's kind of a boring update, but you know, I mean, I think that is the state we are with Android, where not all the updates are going to be huge. I mean, Android 8.0 was not a very big update. Android Nougat, people would argue, was not a very big update. So I think we're just at a point where Android's pretty mature, and we're not going to see updates every single year that are like major breakthroughs. Maybe with Android 10, they'll finally do something that's like radical. But yeah, for right now, we're just staying the course. And I'm really happy to see that there are no bugs in this, basically. I've not had any apps crash or anything like that. So been super happy about that. But yeah, with that, that's pretty much all I have for you guys in this one. If you guys like this, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe if you guys want to see more videos like this. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!